Hi, this is Chris from the Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from Political Voices Network.
You speaking of Brett Baer, you said I love that Brett Baer pulled a Schechter on Trump here, the relentless list. And you said, in case you're wondering what a Schechter, the Cliff Schechter, where he just listed all of the people that worked for him that have called him all these names and are not supporting him. And it was a thing of beauty.
Yeah. It was. If you go to YouTube and search Cliff Schechter, Cleta Mitchell, he was on MSNBC back in 2006, and just. Cleta Mitchell is trying to struggle to figure out, there must be Democrats who have some sort of scandal here somewhere. And no, of course not. She could barely name one, as Cliff pointed out in this clip. And then Cliff goes into this long list of like 6 Republican scandals that were all happening at the same time, like Godzilla crushing Tokyo. He just annihilated Cleta Mitchell. By the way, Cleta Mitchell's gone on to become one of Donald Trump's legal advisors.
Oh, well, that's certainly lofty
After
company.
Being destroyed by Cliff Schechter. Because Donald Trump chooses the best people.
All the best people. By the way, you retweeted Don Jr., who said, my thoughts on the sweetheart Hunter Biden plea deal. I was just saying, if there could be anything funnier than a coked up John Jr. waving his guns around talking about Hunter Biden's sweetheart gun deal. I don't know what it is. But you said your whiny dad had a chance to cut a deal before the indictments and he refused. And now the attorney that was willing to help him do that quit because your dad's a self-defeating moron crook who's more interested in pretending to be alpha than avoiding prison. Thank you. Oh, my God, thank you. Yeah,
exactly. Everyone's screaming on the Trump side about how this plea deal was favoritism for Hunter and he got off light and so on.
Please.
This all could have happened, especially now in the context of this Merrick Garland reporting that we got from the Washington Post this week. This all could have happened for Donald Trump. Donald Trump could have gotten a plea deal, cut some sort of settlement with the Department of Justice. But instead, Chris Kice was removed, or Keese, I'm not sure how you pronounce the last name, but he was removed from the Mar-a-Lago documents case a few weeks after he was joining it. And now he's back. I think he's back on the Mar-a-Lago case, this guy, Chris Kice, who represented Trump and really legitimately wanted to go to Department of Justice and say, all right, we're willing to figure this out here. Can we do this without getting to an indictment? Well, of course, no. Donald Trump makes things worse for Donald Trump, and here we are with an indictment.
The Washington Post piece proves, the same thing we've just learned in the Hunter Biden thing. Yeah, there's two systems of justice, one that seems to favor Trump and Republicans. As we said, we've been saying for the first half hour, Bob, most prosecutors say this would never get prosecuted, the Hunter Biden thing. He was, in a period of turmoil and admitted drug addiction and missed a couple of tax filing deadlines, which by the way, he paid the taxes back a long time ago. No one has ever been charged practically on this gun thing, on the gun application thing. I mean, as someone was saying, if his last name wasn't Biden, he wouldn't have been charged at all. I mean,
exactly. And likewise, there wouldn't have been any investigation of Mike Pence or Joe Biden having documents in their garages. That wouldn't have happened had Donald Trump not gone down this road and kept all of these documents and gotten himself into big trouble for it. So there is, I think this cuts to the centerpiece of the Washington Post article. There is a grave concern in the Department of Justice all the way up to the top about political appearances, about partisanship, about history to an extent. And this is something I've been talking about for a while in the context of Merrick Garland. As impatient as I am, I have, and this is not, I'm not condoning the delay. I'm just saying the reason the delay happened is because Merrick Garland's figuring out, if I do this, it opens up a new precedent. What does that mean for American history? What does that mean for the presidency moving forward? What are the ramifications of investigating an ex-president and potentially indicting them and imprisoning them when there's the opposite party in control of the executive branch? So these are the considerations that he had, and I think they were legitimate considerations. It shouldn't have allowed him to stall for so long. And I also, look, I also understand the idea of wanting to start at the bottom and work their way up, but my God.
But it just occurred to me. My nerd light bulb just went on. You and Travis believe that because you believe in all these where the good guys fight fair and they always win. So hopefully that will be true. But we do. We fight by different rules.
Exactly. I mean, this whole idea that you can't prosecute an ex-president or you can't prosecute someone who's running against the party in control. What a easy way. What a great get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
To be able to say, okay, well, you can't prosecute me because, oh, look, I'm running for president,
Yeah.
or I'm opposing this candidate for president.
And I know the Bob Cesca rule. I live by the Bob Cesca rules. Don't get happy. But yeah, I have great faith in Jack Smith. And you're right. Whether it's a combination of journalism, thank you, Washington Post, thank you, Rachel Maddow, thank you, Bob Woodward, a combination of that, of the J6 committee, thank you, Adam Schiff, right? However we got here, public pressure, I think I still am very confident. And there was a timeline thing for when everyone got appointed, and so I do have some empathy for that. But speaking of happy clappy, Charlie Sykes tweeted a new CNN poll. 59% say, that's almost 60, Chris.
I've heard that, yes.
Say that Trump ought to end his campaign now that he's facing federal charges. Another 11% saying he should do so if convicted. Among independents, 85% say Trump should end his campaign now. I mean, I have just never bought this ridiculous punditry that the more indictments, the better for Trump politically. Fantastic. I mean, yeah, he apparently is raising millions of dollars from his idiot rubes, but that's such a small percentage, I think, of the public. I mean, I have often thought there's just no way he's either going to run, get the nomination, whatever. I think he likely will be in prison. I mean, go ahead. What do you think?
And look, I mean, tying that story together with the Merrick Garland story, there was always going to be a thing where any federal charges, any federal prosecution of Donald Trump was ultimately going to come down to all of us.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about the 2024 election. Whether Merrick Garland had stalled for a year plus, or Christopher Wray or whoever, if they had started on day one, we still would have been looking at a hard out, January 20th, 2025.
A hard break, as we say in radio.
Yes, we would have been slammed up against that hard break of the inauguration in 2025. And so if there had been if a Republican gets elected in 2024 and gets inaugurated in 2025, bye-bye federal charges. That's going to get whatever Republican gets elected would ostensibly pardon Donald Trump or commute a sentence or whatever. So really, delay or not, it's up to Democrats to bring their war faces to this election, and fight as hard as we can, volunteer, do whatever we can to win this.
To your point,
so that the conviction sticks to the wall. Right.
To your point, Bob, you retweeted Ron Filipowski, who said, "Good Lord, his brain has melted. He's going full Emperor Nero, the bronze Caligula." Trump says to commemorate the 250th anniversary of 1776, he will form a commission to organize an entire year of games and festivals, bread and circuses. And you just said, knowing how corrupt his inaugural was and who his golf buddies are, this will be a gigantic cash grab for Trump and the Saudis. Good thing he'll never get the chance, right? And this is why on cue, Moms for Liberty is hosting Bobby Kennedy Jr., like the right-wing group hosting all the Republican candidates is hosting Bobby Kennedy, because, I had Travis pull this, Bob, because I had to remember how many articles were Trump's victory margin smaller than total Jill Stein votes in key swing states? Period. There is no arguing this, Bob. There is no arguing it. It absolutely was the margin of victory, just as the Russians had hoped for, which is what they did with that polling data in those three swing states. This election was decided by 75,000 votes, the Electoral College, right?
Yeah,
so that is what makes you wake up in a cold sweat. That are we going to make the same mistake? Chris was saying Trump quoted a poll showing Bobby Kennedy has 20% support.
22%, he said.
In some poll, I was like,
what?
I get it. Trump said
Donald Trump plays fast and loose with numbers.
Yeah.
That's crazy talk.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but as you said, you retweeted in an uncovered video, RFK Jr. compares mask mandates to the Nazi Holocaust camp experiments on Jews. And you said this is one dial turn away from Alex Jones shrieking about satanic lesbians. And on cue, he yesterday was talking about water turning boys transgender, like the frogs. Like it's exactly an Alex Jones monologue.
Yeah. RFK Jr. going full, turning the freaking frogs gay. I mean, that's...
Yep.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a whole video on YouTube where they take Alex Jones talking about gay frogs and they turn it into this EDM, dubstep kind of thing. And it's hilarious and disturbing. And now one of the people running against Joe Biden in the primary. And by the way, I just want to mention as an aside here, incumbents never debate. in the primary
Yes,
when
of
they're running
course.
for re-election. That
Yeah.
never ever happens. Name
Trump
one time that
didn't.
has actually legitimately happened.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. We don't do this. So
Right.
why are we suddenly? I guess it's all a bunch of rookies and newbies going, oh well, this should happen.
Yeah.
I guess. Well,
Yeah.
it doesn't. That's not how you do it. That's not how it works.
Another point of our sidebar, counselor.
Yes.
I mean, this latest story. Oh, I'm shocked. I tell you, corruption going on in the Supreme Court. Alito's the latest one that took this lavish trip and then voted the way the benefit. Anyway,
Shocking.
Delilah tweets one more thing. Alito is on SCOTUS because the dumbest mother effers alive thought it was cool to vote for Nader instead of Gore in 2000. One more for the fools in the back. You think about the courts and the nuclear codes, and you vote Democratic every damn time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
this story of Joe Stein and the 3 swing states is why Roe v. Wade is gone, Bob. I mean, I understand I'm screaming now, and I apologize.
Well, we like to tease the Republicans for being morons and idiots and weirdos, but we have our own little faction of those kinds of people on the left, and they're supporting RFK Jr. for some contrarian, ridiculous reason. And the only thing I can think of in terms of that kind of support, these are people who value progressivism and value change and everything that goes along with it, issue by issue. And yet it's this self-defeating attitude where, yeah, we're going to support someone who will actually take votes away or damage the person who's most likely going to be running against the Republican in the fall. And the thing I equate it to is that scene in Idiocracy where you see the cityscape and there's 2 buildings tied together with duct tape or whatever it is. And,
Yes.
and then the highway just ends. The highways collapse. And one car after another is just driving off the end of the highway, not even realizing it's just driving right off and falling, crashing to the ground. That's the people who are supporting RFK Jr. and Marianne Williamson and flirting with things like the No Labels Party and this anti-vax nonsense.
Yeah.
You're ruining it for everyone, including yourself. This is ridiculous masturbatory behavior. Stop it.
Yeah.
Learn about electoral politics. Learn about how math works.
Yeah, and we're facing
and then maybe
literal.
we can have a functioning democracy.
Yeah, we're facing literal fascism. I mean, and you watched this Brett Baer interview, Bob, and I said, how low a bar is this? Vote for the guy that's not crazy and not a criminal.
Yeah.
Vote for the guy
Right.
that's not in prison and also crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you may not like everything that's on the Democratic Party agenda and platform, but grown-ups, competent, decency, these are things that matter, I think, in political leadership, especially at the national level. And ultimately, what you're getting with Joe Biden, you're just getting all those things.
Yeah.
You're getting an eminently competent administration that continues to function, that continues to have successes, that continues to pants the Republicans at every single turn. Go to hell with your dementia nonsense propaganda. This guy knows what he's doing, and he's proven it over the past couple of years, and I think he'll do just fine going into a second term.
Yep.
Hi, everybody. Juliana Forlano here for the Political Voices Network. We hope you're enjoying Political Voices and all the content we provide on the daily. Now, there are a few new programs in the wings that are going to launch just in time for election season. If you're able and would like to help us continue bringing you all this content, please help support us by clicking the join button. We're going to have some perks for members, including early video release. You get the information first. Members only chat rooms, live shows, member badges, all the good stuff and more, all coming soon. So click that join button if you can to support us. And rest assured, we will continue to bring you all the great content you have known from the Political Voices Network and more. Thanks so much. See you soon.